Hey guys! Well, I am so excited to announce that I'm going to be a part of another Readathon this October. And as you can probably tell by my shirt, it is the Middle-earth Readathon. It was created by Reese from writing Songbird, and my lovely co-hosts are Celestria and Holly from Lovely Day with Holly. So I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. I love everything to do with Middle-earth. I've watched all the movies, I've read all the books, so I was really excited when Reese asked me to be a part of this. And so what we're going to do right now is just go through all the prompts, and I have a few recommendations that go along with them. The first one is Legolas, Tauriel, and Healy, a book with a love triangle. Now, I know this isn't everyone's favorite trope. In fact, I don't usually like love triangles, and I think the reason is because someone usually gets hurt, and I feel like the character usually ends up picking the person that I don't want them to pick. But I do have a few recommendations with some very well-written love triangles. In fact, the first one is called A Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. And this one has one of the best love triangles I have ever read. It is so well done. I was like, yes! And this book will trick you. It will deceive you a little bit, but it's just in the way of a very shocking plot twist is all I will say. So if you like fantasy, romantasy, definitely check that one out. A Royal Engagement by Emma Leah, and this is about a girl whose father and brother unexpectedly die in an accident. She happens to be a princess, and so she is suddenly in line for the throne, and she kind of has to go through that whole experience of what it's going to be like to be queen and rule a country, and she's got to find a man to marry very quickly. So it's a little bit like a Princess Diaries sort of thing, but there definitely is a love triangle in it, and don't worry, it's very obvious which one she should pick. So it made the whole story really enjoyable. Another book that everyone's really been talking about is Powerless, so if you like fantasy, definitely check that one out. The next prompt is Gimli and Legolas, a book with unlikely best friends. I talk about this series a lot, but the first book is A Kingdom Submerged by Deborah Grace White, and in this series there are mermaids and humans. They kind of become unlikely best friends, and there's also dragons and mermaids and humans that all become friends, so there's a lot of unlikely friends in this series. Another book that I thought of is Hunting Sirens by Mary Meckham, which is the second book in the Legends of Neverland series. So it is a standalone, but I feel like it will be a better experience if you do read the first one, which is Becoming Hook. This book has some unlikely friends because a girl that is going around killing sirens that are killing her people ends up becoming friends with a siren. So yeah, in fact, she ends up falling in love with him. So yeah, it's a really cool twist on the Little Mermaid tale. An Unexpected Journey, a book where they go on a journey. And the first book that I thought of was a recent read, A Lady's Guide to Marvels and Misadventure by Angela Bell. And this book is really fun. It's kind of like a retelling of the Nutcracker, but without the ballet. And it's really just the main character's name is Clara, and there's a character named Drosselmeyer, and they go on this scavenger hunt all around the world that was made by Clara's grandfather. And so it's just a really fun time, Christian historical romance. To Ride the Wind by Melanie Sellier. This is a retelling of East of the Sun and West of the Moon, and one of the main characters, Charlotte, has to journey across the mountains with a white bear. So this is a really fun tale that I highly recommend. Another book that I want to mention that goes on a journey is The Mermaid's Tale by L.E. Richmond, and the reason I want to mention it is because the second book in this series, The Locket's Revenge, actually comes out October 22nd this month. If you were to read The Mermaid's Tale for the journey prompt, you could read A Locket's Revenge to fulfill another prompt, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. Shield Maiden, a book with a strong feminine lead. And the first book I thought of is Assassin of Fire and Sacrifice. This girl is very strong, as you can tell by the cover. Samwise Gamgee, a book with an unlikely hero. The book that I thought of is Song of the Sea by Deborah Grace White, and this is a Little Mermaid retelling that definitely has a different spin on it than normal. In fact, the hero ends up being somebody that you normally wouldn't think would be the hero, so in that case it makes him very unlikely. Ogre Enchanted by Gail Carlson Levine. This book is really fun. It's a middle grade book. This is also the same author of Ella Enchanted, if you've heard of that. This book definitely has an unlikely hero. The last book that I thought of for this prompt is Heart of Red, Blood of Blue by Rebecca Belliston, and this is a medieval fantasy, definitely has some Christian vibes, and there's a whole lot of plot twist and unlikely heroes going on here. So if you like medieval fantasy, definitely check that one out. Second Breakfast, a book that's a sequel. Now, if you read To Ride the Wind for one of the previous prompts, you could read the second book in the series, which is To Steal the Sun, and believe me, if you read this book, you are going to want to pick this one up right away because it definitely ends on a cliffhanger. It's a duology, and the series is just so good. So yeah, you could actually use this to fulfill 2 of the prompts. The other book that I mentioned before that you could use to fulfill both prompts is The Mermaid's Tale and A Locket's Revenge. This is a sequel to The Mermaid's Tale, and the cliffhanger is so painful, so if you pick up The Mermaid's Tale, you are absolutely going to want to jump right into A Locket's Revenge. In fact, I've been waiting almost a year for this story, so I can't wait to find out what happens. My precious, your most prized book. So whatever that book may be, feel free to pick it up and read it again. Gandalf the Grey, a book with a mentor. This one was a little bit hard for me to think of a book, so the one that came to mind is actually The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, because there's a very obvious mentor in this book, and Reese, the creator of this readathon, recently read The Hunger Games for the first time. So that book definitely came to mind. The next book that I thought of with a mentor is Trader's Mask, because she actually has somebody that's kind of like mentoring her, that's kind of like guiding her in something that she has to do. And there's a great mystery in it, so it's just a really, really great tale. If you like fairy tale retellings, definitely check this one out. Aragorn and Arwen, a book with an epic love story. So for this one, I have quite a few because I feel like there's a lot of books that have a very epic love story. And one that I recently just listened to an audiobook is Until Leaves Fall in Paris by Sarah Sundin. It's very epic because it's taking place at wartime, and there's definitely a lot going against these 2 characters. They're both involved in some espionage, so there's just a lot going on. It's very, very epic, and especially the ending. So if you like World War II novels, definitely check that one out. The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. This book is just a very epic, beautiful, wonderful, emotional love story. It's like You've Got Mail meets Romeo and Juliet vibe, so definitely epic. The Wicked Prince by Celeste Baxendale. This book is so good. The romance is just so good. I feel like I can't talk about this book enough. Even if you don't like fairy tale retellings and you're more of like, say, a rom-com girl, please check this out because it's just great. Like, I really want to see what people from that usually don't read fairy tale retellings, like what they think of this author's writing and her romance, because I really believe it's that good. So that's why I'm putting it on the epic list. Go check out Wicked Prince, it's awesome. A Midnight Dance by Joanna Davison Palatano. This book just feels very epic. It's a historical romance about a ballerina, and just everything that kind of goes into it just feels very epic and beautiful. The Caravel series by Stephanie Garber. Oh my gosh, this is definitely an epic love story, especially the last book in the series. And since it's a series, you could also use this one to fulfill the sequel prompt as well. So that's a wrap for all the prompts in the Middle Earth Readathon. Let me know in the comments if any of these books interest you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!